Greetings one and all, this is Riddim Works and welcome to my channel, and today it comes with great regret in letting you know that I am done with Fight Night Champion. I don't mean I'm putting down the game for a little while and picking it up later. I'm actually done with the game. There's many different reasons. First of all, the game is 2 years old and the exploits will always be in the game. It just depends on the individual and how much they use the exploits. And the one reason that I fight a lot of unranked fights, because if you look at my record, it's pretty low, but I have a lot more unranked fights as well. So, you know, so I've probably had like over 1,000 fights, 1,500, yeah, around 1,500 fights, 2,000 fights. But a lot of them has been unranked. And also 12 round fights, 12 3-minute round fights, because the ranked fights only allow you to have 10 2-minute rounds, I think. And from other videos that I've posted up, obviously you can tell that I'm not really a big fan of that. But even when I do enter the OWC fights, it's just so full of spam and cheese and exploits that I find myself having to combat all of that with cheese and spam as well, and it doesn't make for a good fight. Even if I win, I don't feel good about the win because I have to combat other fighters by using the same bullshit what they use, and it doesn't make for a good fight. So with that, unranked fights, 12 round fights has always been the way to go with me. And there's really probably a few people that I play that way with, but one person out of everyone is Penn B 66, but I'll come back to him later. Within my channel and within the Fight Night series, I try my best to bring something different to the table, i.e. by doing interviews to actually get people to recognize the voices behind the names, behind the gamer tags and stuff, and to bring the community together in the hope of having a totally sim community, if you like. And you know, I've got to give it up to HZ Gaming and Dave the Rip One for actually implementing the idea of putting another tournament together. It's nothing new, but I thought that with this incarnation of a Fight Night tournament that it would go on to great things within the expectation of the release of the next Fight Night installment, and I think it would have done a lot of good for the community. It all kind of changed with the pay-per-view fight that I was due to have with the great Ted Moore. Now, there is no doubt, and I ain't gonna front, the great Ted Moore is probably one of the best elite fighters in the world right now. It was an honor for me to basically be asked to fight him on pay-per-view. Now, the thing with me was that, well, I have to decrease my margin of loss, you know, not to say that, you know, that I should be thinking negative in losing, but come on, you know, this guy basically has over 2,000 fights, what have you. And, you know, this guy plays this game a lot. I don't play it a lot because I have a career. He's 17. I'm a grown-ass man. So there's a difference. But at the same time, I recognize his skill. But it all kind of came to a head when we basically agreed on the pay-per-view fight that he was going to fight as Broner and I was going to fight as Danny Garcia. He actually went and friend requested Penn B 66 and asked him for a fight. But instead of Penn B basically using any other fighter that he could have used, he used Danny Garcia in his naivety. And when I found out that was the case, I was pretty much pissed off with him because of the fact that he could have chosen another fighter, but he didn't. He already knew about me fighting as Garcia because he sent me pictures of Garcia so that I can basically use as the game face to create a fighter. But I thought, nah, I don't want to go through all that rigmarole. I will just go into Fight Night Champion and see if I can download a Danny Garcia, which I did, but I just changed certain aspects of him and you know, just tweaked things here and there that still qualified under his pay-per-view rules. The only thing that I basically wanted was 12 3-minute round fights, which he was kind of dubious about, but that was the way I fought and he accepted that. But then when he fought Penn B and Penn B used that fighter, it really pissed me off. It pissed me off because A is like, I knew exactly what 10 was doing, but Penn B should have known what he was doing. But I just think it was just the fact that he was basically fighting the great 10 more before I even did, that kind of got to him and just made him do what he done. And I wasn't happy about that. I really wasn't happy about it, because that's like sparring with the enemy. Why are you going to spar with the enemy on any level? Because he asked me, and I said, well, you do what you think is right. You do what you do what you feel you need to do. And that's what he done. And I wasn't too pleased about that at all. So I made a video stating that I wasn't going to fight as that fighter the following day. Even that same time when he was fighting 10, 10 asked Penn B to actually put up the video of that fight before he had even spoken to me, before 10 had even spoken to me about it, which I thought was very, very dubious to say the least. But anyway, that's basically what happened. I put up a video stating that I wasn't going to use Danny Garcia's character. 10 already knew about it. Penn B already knew about it. So it was really just down to me to let him know what I'm using. But then last night, 10 was still on Penn B's case, asking him to put up the video because I am using a different boxer. Which pissed me off even more, because it's like, you know, well, why don't you talk to me? Why don't you talk to me and find out exactly what's going on with me instead of going around people? I asked a lot of other fighters, have they fought the great 10 more before? And a majority of them says, yes, they have, but I found out that he sniped me. Which kind of made sense, because he sent me a lot of alternate accounts for me to actually accept his friendship, which I thought was pretty odd. But me, like an idiot, I accepted him. But it makes complete sense to me. And one thing that I don't really like is when people have to give alternate accounts of themselves to me, when I'm just bringing, you know, I'm just bringing Riddim works to you. Now with the Punk series, obviously I'm doing that for a purpose. So I'm using I use another account for that. But I'm not using that to fight anyone. I'm just using that to punk them out, as you see in the lunch and meat and butter videos. That's the only reason why I use another account, you know. But it just started kind of turning me off, not only the fight, but the game itself. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was actually when I fought Penn B at my invitation last night. And within that fight, he used every exploit going. And he stated to me, well, I'm just fighting out of instinct, and it was you who basically taught me. And I'm thinking, but I didn't teach you to do that. I remember having fights with Penn B, and sometimes he would win, sometimes, you know, most times I would beat him. But I wouldn't beat him in that way. Do you know what I mean? Because I would teach him how to basically box. But if you feel you got to basically use them kind of exploits to beat me on an unranked game, then the game ain't worth playing. Now, you know, Penn B or anyone else might have something different to say about that, but I'm just saying it from my perspective as someone who's played the game from day one and has seen every exploit there is. That unranked fights, you're not under any pressure to fight that way. So why are you going to basically utilize exploits to try and win a fight? Just because I'm a good fighter and I don't fight that way. That means I've got to counteract spam with spam, which doesn't make any sense. And that's what kind of pisses me off when I have fights like that. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I wasn't well yesterday as well. But I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm just saying it because it was suggested that I sleep on it and see how I feel in the morning, you know. But here we are a few hours later and I still feel the same way. So I'm sorry to let you know that I am done with Fight Night Champion. What I will do is that I will put up the interviews, the big up interviews, the last two that I recorded with Intocabile and also Game Attack Punisher 1564. I will put those up, and after that, that's it. That's me done. I won't be taking part in the tournament. I'm sorry, HZ. I just won't be taking part in that. And I won't be taking part in the pay-per-view fight. I'm really, really done. I just want to wait until the next fight night comes and see what happens there. I'm saying what I'm saying with no malice to Penn B, no malice to the great Ted Moore, no malice to anyone who's been supporting me in relation to the Fight Night series. But I just think I'm just so done with it. I'm actually missing the enjoyment of gaming. Do you know what I mean? I've got equipment that I use when I just game, and I don't use it now. You know, I've got 2 badass headphones that I don't use because I'm basically capturing gameplay to put on my channel, so I'm not enjoying the gameplay as I would even like. With Fight Night Champion, it's one of those games people know that you either love or you hate. But right now it's a game that I just can't stand right now. And it was one of the games that actually made me start playing on the PS3, would you believe, on a regular. But there's more games to play that I can enjoy a whole lot better than go through all that crap. So it's with that, I thank you. Oh, my channel will still be running. So, you know, and I wish everyone in the Fight Night community all the best. But I'm just waiting for the next one to come out before I even attempt to get back into the Fight Night series. And I really hope that EA, you know, takes notice of what is genuinely being said and generally being said about the issues in Fight Night and rectify it as best way they can. So there's no choice but for people to fight sim in the game, or else you're just gonna have the same freaking problem with all the exploits and shit. And that's gonna basically die a very, very, very bad death, and then UFC and MMA is gonna rule the roost. And you know, I don't really play those games. I don't have anything against those games, but I just like playing boxing games. So please, EA Sports, fix up. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'm gone. Peace.